actually not laughing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's episode. Ladies and gentlemen, listen. Coming at you live. I'm lying. Probably thought yesterday, where did Evan go? Did he abandon us on a Monday? Nah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tuesday. We used to come in hot on Mondays, but the podcast has moved, and we no longer come in hot on Mondays. Monday. Because we are getting litty as a titty on Tuesday. Ooh! Getting litty on a Tuesday. As a titty, I wanna choose a small titty or a big titty. It's more of a metaphorical litty titty Tuesday. It's Titty Tuesday. No Me Too Tuesday. 'Cause I'm just talking about some metaphorical boobies. Ladies and gentlemen, they call me One Take Lopez, and there's a clear reason for that. We do shit in one take. Did I plan that song? No. I said, hey, I have an agenda. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to explain the podcast is not on Monday anymore. It's coming on a Tuesday. What should we call it? Litty Titty Tuesday. That just rolls off the tongue nicely. Hey, what are you doing today? You know, it's Litty Titty Tuesday. Litty Titty Tuesday. Okay, I could just say that all day. Just repeat it. Litty Titty Tuesday. Tuesday. Litty Titty Tuesday. So I'm going to make a banger out of that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast. So this is your first time stumbling across this podcast. Welcome to Litty Titty Tuesday. Okay? Happy Labor Day. Okay? Now you might be thinking, Evan, what's the reason? We've talked about toying with the idea of changing the podcast days. You know, I usually come in hot on a Monday. But it just makes more sense to get Litty Titty Tuesday. Okay? Why not just drop it a day later and get it out at 8 a.m.? Maybe even 7 a.m. on Tuesday. Because here's the serious. This is the reason why. Are we still going to be recording on Monday and Wednesdays? Yeah. But we want to switch it up a little bit. We want to make sure that people have this podcast on their commute early in the morning. They get on, they find Litty Titty Tuesday, you know? I want to make sure I'm catching you at the right time when you want to listen to me. Sometimes, you know, podcasts just come out midday on Mondays and Wednesdays, but we're switching it to Litty Titty Tuesday, and who knows what kind of Thursday. You'll have to tune in Thursday to find out what kind of Thursday we're dropping on you. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast. We are currently celebrating Labor Day. So happy Labor Day for anybody who celebrates this holiday. You never know anymore. You got to ask. You got to ask. You don't want to offend anybody with, you know, what they're celebrating, what they're allowed to celebrate. Because I could see Labor Day being offensive to people with no job. Given the landscape of our current society that we're living in, could be offensive. Could be offensive. What isn't offensive nowadays? Okay? Because you know what was found offensive by Instagram? A music video I dropped. Did I know I was going to get in trouble? Yeah, I had a feeling. Listen, I did, if you haven't seen it, you can go check it out on YouTube. You can go look at it on Instagram. I don't like to brag. I'm not a bragger. But I can clearly see when something is being not getting the exposure that other things similar to things to it get. I pull a few thousand views on a video. Normal. Not a big deal. It's awesome. But when I drop a video and it gets 50 views, and then I got people DMing me saying, hey, I tried to comment on your video and it wouldn't let me comment, and instead it took me to a link about COVID-19 facts. And then I have people sending me screenshots on YouTube that they tried to comment on my video and it kept saying errors. And then when they would try to sign back in and go, it would bring them to COVID-19 facts. And listen, your boy's not a conspiracy theory. And I'm not so far gone with being an artist that I'm like, oh, I'm being censored or blah, blah, blah. The video didn't turn out good and I didn't really pick up traction. That's cool. I'm in it for the process, baby. Okay? I always say, not entitled to the results, only the process. It's got to be a labor of love on Titty Tuesday. Okay? And that was strange. And that was something I've always held the belief, especially doing stand-up and everything. I get approached a lot with offensive jokes, what people find offensive, and I get asked, or I see, maybe I should say it this way, I see a lot of material. I see hours of comedy every single week, hours of it. And sometimes you see stuff that is very offensive, but if it's done very well and the joke in it's funny, you can do it. But then I see things where people, their personal feelings are shining through. They haven't figured it out yet, and the joke's not funny yet, and it's just got to be worked out. There's that, and then there's just stuff where it's like, hey, that's just, you're trying to do shock. There's no joke, and you think you're cute. You want people to laugh because it's just absurd what you're saying. It's not really clever, okay? And then when I see that, I just am like, what are we doing here? And the point I'm making is doing a video like the Without Me video that I just did that, had weird traction, I think due to it being so much about COVID-19. I thought that if I did it in a funny way, that it wouldn't be taken, it wouldn't catch flack, or that I was like, promoting people not getting vaccinated and stuff like that, which I was more just trying to show how silly this entire past year has been. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills most of the time, It's like you've seen that thing where it's like people pick one thing and they base their entire personality about it. People will pick one political party and then base their entire personality around it. Like no new information, nothing goes against it. It's just like, this is the team I am. And I feel like during this past year, it's gotten so hyped. Like everything political, everything with our social situation, it's become hot. It's become trendy, Everybody has to have an opinion. And it all stemmed from the weird silence is violence. I feel like that's what made a lot of people get involved and start having opinions when no one gives two fucks what someone's opinion is. I don't really care. Like I'm hitting a point in my life where I'm like, it's not fun for me to argue with people. When I was younger, I would get involved in debates and I always, there's always that insecurity of like, you want to be right. But it's like, I just don't want to fight anymore. I'm tired of it. And I'm tired of wasting energy on shit that doesn't contribute to my life. So it's like, I don't get caught up in Instagram comments. I don't get caught up in DMs anymore. When I would get weird DMs or someone didn't like something I did, even when someone after a show, I had this girl come up to me. I don't know if I've talked about this before. And basically after I had a good set and everything, I was hanging out by the bar, typical. And this girl comes up to me. She goes, hey, good set, but I just have to ask, why the wepa joke? And I was like, what? Well, you said like wepa. And I was like, oh. She goes, you're not Mexican, so why say it? And then I was like, instantly my spidey sense, I'm like, oh, we're dealing with a woke person right now. I go, oh, because I'm Puerto Rican. And she goes, but that's not even the argument. I shouldn't even have to have this argument. And she goes, Puerto Ricans don't say it, wepa. And if you literally Google who says wepa, the first result will say Puerto Ricans. It's so silly. And I go, oh yeah? And I smile and I go, they do in Puerto Rico when I lived there. And then she goes, huh. And I go, are you Mexican? She goes, no, El Salvadorian. And I go, oh. So I'm like, what's the point? What's going on here? Like, what are we doing? Are this weird virtue signal of just like word police? It's the weirdest fucking thing ever. And it's weird that it's happening to comedians where this is just a joke. If a comedian 100% says something on stage, don't take it as like the truth. In literally the context of the joke, I was talking about how I would react to a race war. Like I'm making up this imaginary situation and how I would handle it. And then she just goes, I'm sorry, I'm an asshole. And then I just like went, yeah. And then I walked away. Because I don't want to get pulled into arguments about shit that doesn't even fucking matter. And I think that's what people do when they don't have a lot going on, or they don't want to accept responsibility for their life. They have to find something to get upset about. And they just find these little battles that don't involve them at all. They attach themselves to it. And I think everybody was getting so drawn in the weird battles this past year that they forced everybody else into the battles. They were like, hey, silence is violence. Like, whatever happened to people minding their business and just not getting involved? You know? Like, whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to being like, okay, well, I want all the information before I just jump into this emotionally charged situation, even socially. There's been a lot of shit this past year where a lot of violence, a lot of issues and everything happened because of misinformation on all sides. You know, I'm someone, if we're going to be real, I'm someone who believes in health and nutrition and taking care of your body because, man, I've talked about it before. Going to nursing school, literally the day I decided I was not going to be a nurse was in pharmacology class, when I brought up a question about, well, what about side effects and what about how like nutrition and a healthy lifestyle can help stop the need for this? Because it was when we were looking at nosocomial illnesses, which are diseases you get while you're in the hospital being treated for something else. And my pharmacology teacher goes, he literally banged the desk. He goes, that's not your scope of work. Focus on your job. And I remember being like, well, for one, sir, this is prime Evan competing in boxing. I'm about to jump over this table and like physically assault you, you know, for talking to me this way. But because it was very arrogant and just a weird situation, I remember thinking, it like clicked. I was like, I'm never going to flourish in this life. This is not going to be me. Obviously, I was a silly goose the whole time, and I shouldn't even have been in nursing school, but that's a different tale. But since then, I've always had the approach of nutrition, fixing problems at the root and kind of steering everything. Because when I first started saying everything with COVID, I instantly was like, all right, I get stop the spread. For an entire year, I was great. I didn't, see family a lot. I made that sacrifice. I didn't see friends a lot. I stopped training, doing jiu-jitsu, something I was doing almost every day, seeing all my close friends at 10th Planet Ventura. Shout out. Didn't see a lot of people. I was doing everything that we were supposed to be doing, following everything. And it was always, I wasn't worried about myself. It was always just, well, there's people at risk and I'm going to do my part till we get a vaccine. So those people who are at risk don't feel scared and they can enter back into society. And then once that was the whole thing, that started happening, they've kind of flipped the script of being like, well, if you want to even join society, you have to get vaccinated too. And I'm like, well, it shows like it's overall on the spectrum, even with the Delta variant, 0.02 fatality rate. People die. People do. And that's something that when you hear something like 50,000 deaths in the past week or some shit like that, it's like, hey, why don't you look at the staggering numbers of heart disease, of diabetes, of drunk driving, tobacco, all this shit. Pandemic's been here for a while. It's just not as profitable or cool if people start taking care of themselves, if they get out of the system of needing healthcare. Do you know who funds like the biggest politicians' campaign and everything like that? It's pharmacies. It's illegal drug dealing. Let's be real. I'm gonna get assassinated for this episode. This is why we don't get Litty Titty Tuesday. This is what happens when I record podcasts later on in the day and my fucking brain's warmed up. I just start going, ladies and gentlemen. But to finish what I was saying, I've taken the approach of, because now we're in a situation, there's a goddamn mu variant. And it's supposedly not affected by vaccines. So it's like, obviously, vaccines don't work on it. That's the rumor. This isn't proven. There's not a big sample study of it, but it is something they're keeping their eye on. I think it's in Colombia right now, doing fucking cocaine. And yeah, I'm sure it'll make its way here, and then it will be the new hysteria. And then, yeah. But the whole idea of COVID-19 is people have to be healthier. People have to take care of themselves. They always want to hide the comorbidities, and they want to talk about these 1% of the 1% of 1% of cases where it was someone who was seemed healthy on the surface. And then they want to start spitting guilt and everything about, well, now hospitals are overwhelmed because people are getting treated for COVID, and now people who have other emergencies are dying because they can't get a hospital bed. It's sad. It's sad. It's a tactic to get people to get vaccinated. I think when anything is pushed by guilt, it gets fucking weird, and I don't want to be part of it. And that's why a lot of times I stick to myself. I just take self-responsibility, when it comes to getting COVID. Dude, I've been in Texas for fucking 5 months, and I'm having a fucking crisis because I'm like, why doesn't COVID want me? I'm out there rocking it in the free world. I'm around dirty comedians all the time. I'm a petri dish of being exposed to stuff. And I will get sniffles. And you know what your boy does? Your boy goes and gets a test. And I'm like, I know it's this now. Yeah, I got my sinus infection. I'm ready to hunker down for a week and just get my antibodies. Okay? And every time COVID doesn't want me. And I'm like, what's wrong with me? Am I not pretty enough for you, COVID? What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Really? Okay? I'm not good enough for you. I got a beautiful body for you here. Okay? I've been working hard. Do your worst. Not your worst, but anyway. But it's a bummer, Because people ask me that. They're like, how crazy is COVID out there? And I'm like, I don't really see much. But the whole point, why did I even go on that rant? I think it was about being shadow banned with fucking my video. And I get it. Listen, I don't want people to think, that I'm super anti-vax. I'm not. I love modern medicine. Modern medicine has saved a lot of lives. Emergency situations. Dude, if they found a way to not have people be able to corrupt our healthcare system, it would be a beautiful thing. If we really cared about health, like that's the thing is they shouldn't even call it a healthcare system, because the idea of it isn't to make people healthy. It's like it's to turn people into consumers. That's what a lot of it is. And it may be like, oh, that's ridiculous. But look at objectively of how they make money. You think if you just fix someone, you tell them to change their lifestyle, you tell them, hey, you need to take responsibility and you need to do this, that they're, you don't get a lifelong patient out of that person. You don't get them on pills. You don't say, hey, no, I can't treat you. What you need is a healthy lifestyle. No, you're never going to turn away. That's like a car mechanic getting someone in there and being like, you know what, your car's fine. Here, I just need to tighten this up. You're good to go. Now they're going to be like, well, you need to change this out and blah, blah, blah. And this needs to be, and this is going to start breaking down. So what you need to do is use our product, and you come in monthly and we'll change it out for you. This shit's business, baby. Shit's business. But I'm not on the other side of it, of where I think it's all the healthcare system's fault. I think it comes down to a lot of people being responsible for everything in your life. It is your duty as an individual to just try to be the best version of yourself. Take responsibility. Turn away the fast food. Listen, I get it. Your boy loves French fries. Your boy loves a mean quesadilla. Just cheese in general. It's God's gift. It's the devil's gift to earth. Cheese is the devil, and it tastes great. And I think that's something that you just have to a little bit. You got to limit it. You got to make sure you're doing your workouts when you don't want to, and just take care of yourself, and then you kind of avoid the situation. All right. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Litty Titty Tuesday. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, got too serious on the podcast again. Talking about COVID. Probably gonna get flagged. Podcast shadow ban. Anything I can to do to make my success go down. Every day I try harder to make me a part of you. Ooh. Yeah. That's what we do at the end of the day. Listen, I probably shot myself in the foot. There's been a few things I've done on social media where I'm just like, you didn't have to do it that way, you know? But I think in the Without Me video, I had to express some ridiculous shit that I just have, like, I think that's what I do, is I enjoy just being like, hey, this is kind of ridiculous, right? Like, that's what I think as a person. A lot of times I just stop and I go, this is ridiculous. And then I try to make it funny. And I just rinse, wash, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat over and over and over again. And that's my life. Like, when people are arguing about Drake versus Kanye West, I'm like, hey, these people are just making their rhymes. And we're over here talking about beef. Hey, Drake versus Kanye West is the weirdest shit to me, because I'm like, dude, you guys make the softest music. It's great music. It's great music. Listen, I'm not trying to knock these two. Drake and Kanye West are probably both in my top five. Top five for multiple reasons. And you could be like, oh, there's this and that and that. There is something I'm very impressed by. Someone who has longevity as long as Drake, long as Kanye West has. Especially Eminem. You know, Eminem is kind of at the helm for me of longevity and being able to stay relevant. That is something, you know, that you don't see a lot. But a lot of times I'm just like, people talk about the beef and I'm like, Drake sounds like he uses chamomile lotion all the time. You know, I tried to work out to Drake's new album the other day and all I could do was stretch. I started doing yoga poses and feeling like I was a 27-year-old girl going through school, trying to be a lawyer and just like go to the club on the weekends. That's how Drake makes me feel when I start listening to him. I'm just like, oh, I just feel like some girl in a Drake song. That's what I'm getting at. But Drake has some bars. What was it? 7 a.m. on Brittle Path? Bars. Even the intro song. I fucking love it. Certified Lover Boy. I love you. I love you. It was great. And I don't get it with Kanye West. Kanye West album has a couple good songs. A couple good ones. And listen, my opinions change a lot after listening to an album maybe 10 to 15 times. I put it through the cycle. I give it a full chance. I think I'm through about 4 or 5 run-throughs of Donda. And I don't see as much effort in Kanye West's music that there used to be. And the thing is that Kanye West has fanboys and girls, people that are ride or die and think that he's so abstract that it's genius. But I'm just like, dude, Kanye West could fart in a mic and you guys would say it was art. You would. If he just farted in a mic, you guys would be like, wow, it represents our society right now. Wow. This brings a lot of awareness to indigestion and the effects it's had on the everyday man. Like, and I'm just like, what? What are you talking about? I just see a guy who's borderline schizophrenic, thinking that he can just say whatever and it's going to sound the same. Listen, Lil Wayne has made a full career recovery. I think what it was, and it's changed a little bit, because I would think that Lil Wayne, I thought he reached that point where a lot of rappers do, where they just say something very basic and they can pull it off because it's them saying it. But if an unsigned rapper or someone who just was not as big of a name said it, everybody would be like, that's whack as shit. Like when Lil Wayne went into the era of being like, I see my grandma when I want, I call that shit Instagram. Ooh. You know, he went into a very cat in the hat stage of his career. And I think what it was, in hindsight, because where he is now, Mona Lisa, such a great song. Mona Lisa is bars. I think it was too much lean for a while. I think he got a little too much in the scissor up. You know, he was having all them strokes and seizures. Not strokes, seizures. He was having strokes of seizures on planes and shit. I think he just got too lost in the sauce. And now he's back. Same thing with Eminem. Listen, I'll listen to what's that album he put out? Was it Curtain Call? Was it Curtain Call? The one where it was like, you are just a big meanie cause we do. It had that one song, it had Fack, which is a funny song. I forgot my like it was very they were just such surface level songs. I'll listen to it once every 6 years, okay? On a road trip. I'm like, throw on that album, Curtain Call. What songs did it have on there? If you haven't listened to it, and the point I'm bringing it up is, no, it wasn't Curtain Call. Was it? No. I need to find it. Eminem albums. Was it Curtain Call? Encore. Sorry. Encore is what I'm talking about. It was... Did it come after the Eminem show? Yeah, it came 2 years after the Eminem show, which is kind of crazy. Great wordplay through Eminem's albums. The Eminem show was a phenomenal album, a perfect album. Eminem produced a lot of the beats because everybody kept saying that he couldn't write an album without cursing too much, and that he wasn't actually a producer or an artist. He was just like a rapper. So he produced a lot of the beats on the Eminem show just to prove people wrong, and didn't cuss as much just to prove it. And then he got a little too heavy into the drugs, and he'll be honest about it, talking about Encore. But if we're going to rank Eminem albums, Encore might be my least favorite Eminem song or album. Had a couple good ones. Toy Soldiers, great. Big Weenie, Just Lose It, Spend Some Time is good. There's a few songs on there that are good. Mockingbird. But there's a lot of songs where you're just like, what is this? My First Single, Rain Man. Come on. But I think artists hit a time in their career where it's just they're like phoning it in, where something's, they're distracted, but they got to put something out. And I feel like that's what happened with that album. I feel like that's what happened with Lil Wayne for a while. And I feel like Kanye West has been in that stage for a minute now. There's sparks of like, man, this is phenomenal. Great song by Kanye West. But then overall, it feels like he's too distracted by other shit than just doing the music. I just want Kanye West to get locked in a studio for like 3 or 4 years and just focus on the music. And I think he's bored with traditional ways of doing music, but it's like, man, I don't know. I just would love to see it. I think Kanye West always had a little bit of an ego problem where he wanted to transcend music and wanted to do so much more with it, which is why he got into the modeling, he got into the, clothing, which he's killing it in clothing. But how am I going to sit here and knock little Eminem Wayne, okay? Now, how am I going to sit here and knock Kanye West? He put out what I think is a perfect album with My Dark Twisted Fantasy. If you've never seen the music video to it, it's like a 30-minute short film. Listen, smoke a little bit of the devil's lettuce and put on My Dark Twisted Fantasy short film. Whew. It's going to knock your dick in the dirt, or your proverbial lady dick in the dirt, okay? Again, litty titty on a Tuesday. What else we got going on? Dude, one thing I didn't know about Texas, I did not expect to see so much wildlife. Okay? I didn't expect it. I'm seeing now just in my area, possums, raccoons, fucking rats, just so much stuff. Mice, I'm seeing them. I've seen outside my place, all of those, bobcats, mountain lions. If we keep going at this pace, I'm going to see a goddamn shark. I can just feel it. Or a bear. And here's the crazy thing about Texas. There's exotic animal laws here. And I'm not talking about the abortion law. Hey, too soon. But there's exotic animal laws to where it's like, you could see anything. A goddamn unicorn could make its way through my backyard, and it would be like, oh yeah, all right, well yeah, they live in Texas now. But speaking of sharks, that's one thing that I'm so happy that if you're not going to be around an ocean, you don't have to worry about. Always my fear. Always my fear in the ocean. You're surfing and a goddamn shark's just going to bite your leg. I think even though, and listen, a lot of people said they think I could beat up a mountain lion. I was very flattered, okay? Very flattered, ill-placed confidence in me. A mountain lion would destroy me. I don't think I have much of a chance. Unless, yeah, like it's not looking good. I got to study some training videos and see where I can go with it. My career as a mountain lion fighter. But I still might want to rather fight a mountain lion than a shark. Because you're in the shark's home. That's where it feels confident. And now your boy used to be a swimmer. I keep them flippers on deck, okay? I can handle myself in the water. But we're talking about the ocean, coach. We're talking about the ocean. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. I get in that shark's territory. It's swimming circles around me. I'm not going to drown. I'm not going to flounder. But it's going to be so fast. It's going to fucking juke me up like fucking Iverson and Jordan. Okay? Oh, that's one thing about the ocean. Do you know your boy has been stung by jellyfish? Stung by stingrays? I lived to tell. I lived to tell the tale of being stung by stingrays. Just one, actually. When I was a kid, I was at Belmont Shore. I was at a swim meet. And I went out to the ocean, and there was like a reef thing. And I kept jumping down on it and then pushing up. Jumping down on it and pushing up like a fucking idiot. And then all of a sudden, something just goes right into my leg. And I'm like, ah! And I start swimming to shore. And then as I'm getting to shore, my leg just starts burning. And I get there, and there's just blood coming down my leg. And I remember there was like another parent, another kid on the swim team, and we went inside, and there was like a lifeguard from the pool, and they were like starting to spray. They sprayed something on my leg, but then I broke out in this crazy rash all over my body. And then I don't know why. I think because we just didn't have a lot of money. Instead of taking me to an emergency room or a doctor, my mom just drove me home like 2 hours and just put me in an Epsom salt bath. Obviously, I lived to tell the tale. But it's like, hey, that could have went pretty bad, you know? Look at fucking the crocodile hunter. And you were like, nah, he just needs a bath. He just needs to bath it off, you know? The jellyfish was worse, though. When I was living in Puerto Rico, I went out for a swim. You know when you just know something's off? There's been a couple times in my life where the water has felt sharky. Sharky is like a term where it's just like, ooh, you feel like the boogeyman's in the room, you know? And I started swimming, and there was this, first I'll tell you the first time. When I was lifeguarding in Ventura, I was working at Tower Zero, which is by the pier. I start to go swimming when I would wake up, like I'd get up, I'd go to the lifeguard tower I was going to work at, and before opening, I sometimes would do a loop around the pier just to wake up, kind of a quick workout. And then I went halfway and then went back. Like I just felt weird, and sometimes I spook myself out when you look in the water and you can see you can't even like see the bottom of the ocean anymore, and you just picture a fucking mega mouth coming up and getting you. I turned around, and then I found out later on a guy came down from the pier, and he goes, hey, it's good you stopped swimming. I don't know what kind of jellyfish he said it was, but he said it was the size of like a basketball hoop, just laying there in the water, in the path that I would have went around. Like it was at the edge of it, and I just hugged the pier and swim around it, and I probably would have swam through it. So it was like good, my sharky senses happened that day. But I didn't listen to them like 5 years later in Puerto Rico. I decided to go out for a swim, and I swim on this buoy area, like where people, it's like the play, not the play area, but where people can just swim, and then there's surfing on the other side, but there's like a buoy that they don't really want you to go past. What I would do is I would just go on the outside the buoy, and I would do laps in the ocean. And as I'm swimming, I go like this, and I reach through, and a jellyfish, I swam right through it. And the jellyfish just wraps around my arm and my shoulder. And I literally feel it like stinging all over instantly. And I grab it by its squishy little fucking head, and I rip it like as it's like grabbing me. So it was only on me for like a couple seconds, and I realized instantly what it was because it was just like right through me. And I remember throwing it. And then I started making my way to shore, and I could like barely use this arm. And like, I'm so lucky because I don't know what kind it was. It's terrible. But I remember I start going in the shore, and it's like dusk now. So people aren't even really on the beach anymore. And I go into my apartment complex, lived on the beach, no, humble brag. And I go up the elevator and everything, and I get inside my place, and I like look at myself, and I just have these red like vines all over my body right here. And I remember I was getting tired, like super sleepy, and I just like didn't feel good at all. Like the room was like starting to spin. And all I did, like an idiot, I probably should have went somewhere. I took Benadryl, and I was home alone because my sister this is when we were living together, and she was at nursing school. We went to nursing school on different nights, and I just go on the couch and pass out. Like I literally just be like, oh, I just need to lay down for a second. Could have easily died. But I lived to tell the tale, ladies and gentlemen. And then when I woke up, I still had the red marks all over me. I have a picture somewhere. Maybe I'll post it in a TBT on Thursday. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to this episode. I hope you got something out of it. Okay? I hope you got something out of it when we get litty titty on a Tuesday. You know, I'm always here for you, okay? Just to be that voice in your head, that Jiminy Cricket. Don't do that. And here's my Jimmy the Cricket. Yeah, it's your friend and the premium, yep. Take two, okay? Remember they call me one take Lopez? Nah, I'm take two. Ready? Here is my Jimmy. Here's my Jiminy Cricket advice to you. This week, don't get involved in bullshit. When you feel yourself about to get into an argument with someone, go, hey, does this even fucking matter? 9 times out of 10, it doesn't. Get over it. Let it go. Just let that jellyfish venom go through your body and sleep it off. Don't scratch that itch. Don't get involved in that beef. Who cares if someone tells you to get vaccinated or you're killing grandparents? Just go, hey, go with Christ, our Lord and Savior. Get real religious on him. That'll help. That'll keep them away. And remember, no matter what, ladies and gentlemen, I still love you.